Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Birmingham Major 2025 RLCS recap video. Let's look at the predictions I made before versus the reality of what happened. Now, obviously, there's going to be insane spoilers in this, so stop watching now if you've not seen everything, or if you've not seen the matches. Okay, let's jump into it. So, I think starting with just a general look at Swiss is a good place to start. Now, on the left, we've got the actual results, and on the right, we have my predictions. As you can see, copy in there. Now, I had the order's slightly different, so I'm going to jump around here. Furia 3-0'd the Chiefs. I predicted that Furia was going to 3-1 the Chiefs, so close, but Chiefs didn't get a game. GK 3-1'd Foot. I thought they were going to 3-0 them, so also close within a game. NRG Gen G 3-1, and they actually 3-1 them, so that one was actually a good prediction. And they gentlemen sweeped them too, which was probably also my prediction. KC 3-2 over Wildcard. This was a bit of a scary start for KC because even though Wildcard's a very talented team with Banana Head, Fever, and Torsos on it, to go to game 5 was a little bit scary for them. And they were actually down in the series. You can see if they would have lost in overtime in game 4, they would have lost their first round of Swiss, which would have been a very interesting start for Carmine based on them actually going on to win the major. So this game was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, and you should go watch it. Vitality 3-2 over Twisted Minds. I predicted 3-1. This was a great series, but this was also the series that I think most of us were expecting to be like the best of all the round 1 in Swiss. Team Ultimate 3-1 to LG. I had it going as 3-0. So close. Dig 3-1 to Complexity. I had it going as 3-1 Complexity. And then Falcons 3-1 Team Secret. I had it 3-2, a little bit closer. But in reality, Falcons pulled out the victory a little bit. They went 3-1, so they didn't lose that second game in the series. So honestly, going much further into the Swiss is kind of probably not worth the time of saying, hey, this is what I predicted here, but really these teams never played each other. I think we should mostly just look at how I predicted the main event to shake out and the surprises. The number one surprise in Swiss to me was that GK beat Dignitas in round 5. I wasn't surprised that was possible. As you can see, it was a close game. It was a 3-2. And I think Dignitas can really only blame themselves, but man, look at the run they had in Swiss. 3-1 Complexity. Complexity is a good team. It's not a layup. They lost to Falcons 1-3. I think that's kind of expected because a lot of people had Falcons winning the whole tournament. They beat Twisted Minds 3-2. This is a team they probably should beat consistently, but Twisted Minds, great team, and I thought they were going to have a really good Birmingham Major, and I think they had a good one. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then Furia they lost to, and then they lost to GK. So Dignitas, I think, got the hardest run realistically in the Swiss. I mean, Vitality, I think, also had a tough run, but they won all their matches. And so round 5, Falcons being in round 5 was also not on my bingo card for this major. So that was a little bit scary for them after they got swept by the Ultimates. That I think was like, oh man, the Ultimates are on and the Falcons are off. What could happen in round 5? And Luminosity was thinking, hey, they beat Chiefs, they beat Wildcard, so they beat, as an APAC team, they beat OCE teams, but they couldn't quite match up with the other international competition. So, but hopefully that's encouraging for that team. They were fun to watch. So where's that put the bracket? So I had Vitality Twisted Minds When in reality, Twisted Minds was in the lowers, although Vitality was in the uppers. And then I had Carmine and Falcons in the upper, whereas Falcons went lower bracket and NRG went upper bracket. So then I had NRG Ultimates down here, when in reality it was Furia Twisted. And then I had Furia Dignitas at the bottom. So I was 7 out of 8. The only team I got wrong was Dignitas versus GK. And so I still feel like that's a good pick. Like, if they played again tomorrow, I think I might still pick Dignitas. But I don't want to sound like I'm disrespecting GK, because obviously they're a great team and they won an EU Open, whereas Dignitas did not. For the first 3 opens, I still think that realistically Dignitas is a slightly better team. That's just my opinion, though. If you feel differently, let me know, because they have lost to GK twice now in recent history. So GK may actually be the better team. Maybe I'm just a little bit biased because I'm excited about what Stizzy, Jorius, and Jack are doing. And I think that team has a lot to show us still. So 7 out of 8, I'm going to say pretty good. No really shocking upsets. Like was kind of keep harping on, GK, Dignitas could have gone either way. It went to game 5, super close match. So let's see. It was 2-0. 2-0, so it wasn't super close in the last, and they got reverse swept there, which I know Dignitas is hurting, because to get reverse swept in a best of 5, man, that's tough. So my heart goes out for those guys. So I had the Ultimates losing to NRG, when in reality in the semifinals they beat NRG. This was also a very close series. As you can see, it was 1-0, and it was very close at the end. I think there was 1 or 2 plays that I'm thinking of where Beast Mode probably would want to get that back, because he could probably hit those shots most of the time. I'm thinking of the passing play at the end of game 7 where it went off the post. I think he can hit that shot most of the time. So that was just a little too, just really close, tough loss for them. And also they were leading in the series, and then they had it 3-2, and then they lost the last 2 games, so they didn't clutch out. But based on them losing to Carmine Corp in the uppers, I wasn't too upset that we didn't get a rematch here of Carmine NRG, because it kind of feels like if you lose a best of 7 and it's close, 4-2 is close. It's not like super close, but 4-2 is close. As much as I'm a fan of NRG and I wanted to see them keep their grand final streak alive and go on to challenge K Corp, I think, if you lose to a different team, then that team deserves to be in the grand final. So what's there to be upset about? And let's let a different team take on K Corp and see if they can do anything. Now, obviously, 4-0 in the grand final did not really go Team Ultimate's way, but as you can see, K Corp brought the heat. They 4-2'd NRG, they 4-0'd Furia, and they 4-0'd the Ultimates. By having a great Swiss performance, they put themselves in a great position. Now, it's not like NRG is some layup team, or Furia is some layup team, but I think they had probably the easiest route compared to, I don't know. That's tough to say. Maybe they didn't have the easiest route. They definitely beat 3 of like the top 5 teams in the world, I think, or 3 of the top 6. So nothing too shabby about their performance. So let me not downplay that. I think when it comes to the series that were the most fun to watch, I thought NRG Falcons is always a good match. NRG just seems to always have the slight edge, but as you can see, this was very close, 3-2 on Champs Field. And then Vitality Furia, that was one of the things, if you watched my Coliseum video that I did on the day before the major, this was the matchup I was really looking forward to, a best of 7 between Furia and Vitality. I was honestly pretty shocked that Furia beat Vitality, because Vitality came in really strong, and I thought they were going to beat Furia. Like I would have bet money on that. But Furia came through and clutched it in game 7 overtime. I mean, Game 7 overtime could have gone either way. I don't know. Maybe that's not the best mentality to have about it, but that's kind of how I think about it. So that was a super fun series. I do think Vitality has a better matchup against K-Corp than Furia does, just looking at those teams. So I think Vitality would have given them a better run for their money. But at this point, the Raleigh and Atto and Vatira train was really rolling. So I don't know. It was going to be tough to find any team that could stop K-Corp on Championship Sunday. So I'd give my, my top 4 was Falcons, Energy, Vitality, Carmine. It was Carmine, Furia, Ultimates, Energy. So Vitality and Falcons went out in the lower bracket quarterfinals in close 4-3 matches. Obviously, Ultimates I did not have doing so well in this tournament. I had them going out 7th through 8th, and they got 2nd place. So I think they were the biggest winners in my book, and I look at them with more respect, even though I've always put them as a good team. It's just to see another team from NA reach the grand final as an NA fan, quote unquote. Granted, I'm more of a fan of good Rocket League, regardless of region, but seeing a different team challenge in the grand final is good, and is good for the sport, or the esport of that we watch. We shouldn't just be watching Carmine, Vitality, Falcons, and NRG trading the grand final spots. We need some more teams going in, even though we love these teams and we love the players on the teams. It's good to see the Ultimates or Furia get super deep runs in a LAN. So I'm really happy with how my predictions went. I think they were pretty accurate. I had Dignitas going out early, so it's not like I had Dignitas going all the way, even though they didn't make top 8. In my opinion, they were 9, clearly. They were definitely, in my opinion, the best team that didn't make it. Gen G, I had a couple comments of people saying that Gen G was going to make it out of Swiss. But to be honest, we love those guys. Fun to watch. Very talented team, but just they don't quite have the sauce to beat the better teams. They lost to NRG, they lost to Ultimates, and they got swept by Twisted Minds. Now, those are 3 amazing teams, arguably top 7, top 8 teams in the world. So Gen G still probably fits in that end of top 10, maybe top 12 team, potentially. And then I think Ninjas in Pajamas is also probably somewhere in there. Granted, they didn't make it into this event, so it's tough to rank them amongst these other teams because we don't know how they would have done in this format and, on LAN with these players. So I'm going to go ahead and say I give myself like a B+ for the predictions. I probably could have picked Carmine Core. Would have been a smarter pick, but I think, like I said in my first video, when I made these predictions, I was picking with my heart more than my brain. But I think NRG Grand Final is always a solid pick just based on past several seasons of results. So hopefully this inspires them to go on and grind and play better. I also thought Vitality, while they expect Grand Finals, shouldn't hang their head at their performance. I think this showed that they did have a little bit of a spark, and I think Exotic played a little bit better than he had in the first 3 opens. At least that was my read on it. I do think, without being a hater, that Monkey Moon's got to step up his performance based on how he's done historically. I think Zen and Exotic are clearly playing better than he is right now. So that's probably my hottest take about Vitality, is that they've got to figure out their system to get Monkey Moon a little bit more activated and better scoring, or more punishing on his offense. Let me take a quick break. All right. So what should Team Falcons do? Or, they got out. A lot of people I saw had Team Falcons winning, saying this was their event, this was their year. They went out top 6. They went out top 6. So, and they were very close to beating NRG. As you can see here, it was game 7, 1 goal difference. So could have definitely swung their way, and then it would have been Falcons Ultimates, which maybe that goes a different way than Ultimates NRG. I don't know. Tough to say. We can only theorize over some of these things and look forward to the next, major when we get to see these teams play again. I think it'll be interesting to see if any of these top 8 teams switch up their roster. I wouldn't expect too much movement. I saw some some speculation, I should say, on the RL Esports subreddit where people were talking about Falcons trying to get Nupo from Twisted Minds and swap out TRK because it's unlikely they're going to split the twins no matter what, Rawas and Kalirs. So they were looking at maybe splitting, poaching Nupo from Twisted Minds and taking TRK. Honestly, I don't really think they need a different team. I think they may. It's just tough to say because when they're consistently a top performing team, it's not like you just plug and play a different player and all of a sudden they're going to start winning grand finals, right? So I think they should stick with who they have through the year and then reevaluate in the next offseason. If you're consistently top 4 to 6 in the world, it's unlikely that swapping one player is going to make a huge difference on your results. I do think if they weren't top 8 this event, they should switch. But since they had a decent run and they had a close loss into making top 4, I really don't think they need to switch anything up. Maybe some other strategy, maybe some mental coaching, because they do seem to struggle on LAN against some of these teams. I don't know. So I think of all the teams switching things up, I don't think Furia moves their roster around, because I think Drafinho and Lost and Yan probably the best that the region has to offer, unless they switch things around a little bit. I don't know. Could be wrong. Let's look at the bottom 8 teams that didn't qualify and speculate, because speculating is fun. Dignitas, do they switch out Stizzy, Jorius, or Jack? Unlikely. They have a lot of hype around them, and I just don't. Maybe they swap Jorius out for somebody else. I don't know. He does seem to struggle in the bright lights situations, even though he's an extremely talented player. And I think my rankings were still good. I do think Stizzy was the most dangerous player on that team when I did my top 25 rankings. So I don't think Dignitas changes. Gen G, unlikely they pick somebody up who's going to be better than one of their players. Maybe if they could have swapped one of the, I don't know. This is maybe a little bit rude or sacrilege to say. Maybe they swapped Reddles out for like Kofor or something when he was available, or Frosty. But that team is just really strong together. So I think you just kind of keep boot camping, and then they try to keep picking up top 8 finishes. And chasing a top 8 on LAN, I think, is a good mark for that team. The other teams, I did see some rumors about Complexity Gaming splitting up a little bit, where that Raise Bull was potentially going to move to Godfidence. Just speculation. I'm not saying I have any inside information, obviously. So, I don't know. We'll see if any of those teams make moves. It's kind of part of the fun. It's part of the what if Nupo moved onto the Falcons with the Twins, would they immediately become the number 1 favorites? What if, obviously, I don't think Vitality or K-Corp or NRG are going to switch their teams. Ultimates, unlikely. They've tasted the grand final, so I have a hard time believing that they want to switch any of their players out after doing that. They're going to feel really confident about it, and I think these next 3 opens in NA are going to be super interesting to watch, Ultimates NRG, because that is a much more contested rivalry, whereas the beginning, it didn't really start that way. Let's look forward to the Raleigh Major. Do they have any of the dates on Liquipedia here about the opens? Let's go NA, because I'm NA biased. Open 4 is going to be April, the Swiss is going to be April 20th, so about 20 days out from now. And then I believe is EU going to be the week before that? Sorry guys, I should have had this prepared. April 27th. Oh, okay. So EU is going to be the week after. So NA is going to go first and then EU. Okay. I think it was flipped where we had EU before NA in the last first 3 opens. So open 4, 5, 6 should be interesting to see. I think the biggest question is, where is Ninjas in Pajamas going to end up here for EU? Are they going to make a top spot, or are they just going to keep picking up points and then try to make a run at Worlds as a last chance qualifier? Last thing let me talk about before I forget is the 1v1. So my prediction was 100% correct. It was Moxie in Game 7. So kudos to me for that prediction. Wasn't super close, but as you can see, when Yan started rolling, he was really doing great. 8-7, 4-3, 10-8. I mean, he looked good, but I think Moxie performed well. He was icy on LAN. Like, he looked cool as a cucumber, as we would say. So I think he should feel good about that. No shame in either of their games. I think Yan should feel proud that he got close to beating Moxie. I think this does make Moxie the undisputed 1v1 king of the world right now until we see otherwise. And, you know, the next 1v1 event is going to be interesting. I think most of us who are 1v1 fans are looking to see how good Diaz can do versus Daniel or First Killer or any of the other top NA ones players. And potentially some players from some fringe teams could make a run as well. So it will be interesting to see that moving forward for opens 4, 5, and 6. So we enjoyed our Birmingham Major results, but we are ready to move on to the Raleigh Major and enjoy the Rocket League that comes up ahead. Let me know what you thought and what you thought of the matches. Do you think Drawley deserved the MVP? I think he did, although Atto to me was the MVP in the last series to ice out, but it wasn't really that close. 4-0 Ultimates. I think only one game went to OT, so like I think Ultimates literally never had a lead during the entire series is what I'm remembering from watching it. So KC definitely dominated and should feel good about their performance. So anyways, that's a lot of yapping and talking about the Birmingham Major. Hopefully you guys were able to watch it and enjoy it yourselves. Shout out to K-Corp for winning it. Good for them, and they should feel good about their results and the effort that they put into the game, and hopefully this pushes the teams that didn't make it or that were close to making it to, you know, take their practice even more seriously and bring even more higher level Rocket League for us to watch as the fans. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. I got a bunch of really, really nice comments on the last couple of videos I did, so I really appreciate that, because to go out of your way to write a comment, you know, saying you enjoyed the video or you or any type of, you know, interaction, even just liking the video, definitely very appreciated. So thank you for that. Thank you for subscribing. My plan is to keep releasing RLCS videos and doing some of my own videos, but obviously I'm like Diamond 3 Champ 1, so I get it if you guys don't want to watch those videos. But they are going to be out there, and my Road to Champ in 3s as a solo queue video, second episode, is coming out later this week, and that will continue ongoing. It's a new season, so my MMR reset, so I need to record my third episode and keep doing that. But yes, thank you so much for the support. More videos coming soon. Appreciate you guys and gals, and have a wonderful night.